All righty then. Right. Is an anthology in your future? This will be fun. This is not so much about how to do one, but what to look out for and what to look for. But you will learn a lot, hopefully. Who is this for? It's people that want to do speaking, coaching, consulting, and those who have a bucket list item, a message burning in their head, in their heart. It's a great way to get published for a variety of reasons. It really just works. It works. You can build a career on it. So let's see if it's in your future. Ah, it is. However, only if you're a potential writer who wants to save time, money, aggravation, who doesn't, and become an established instantly authority, credibility, and expertise, because that's what books do. Okay, is an anthology in your future as a potential anthology organizer or creator, like what I do? You can see there's quite a bit here to access or consider, I should say. There's a lot involved. You have to be good at story development. That's somebody who can see the big picture for other people and down the road and around the corner. So that content strategy helps to build a business as well. The others you can read, it's really about wearing a lot of hats to find the right people. And becoming a book producer it's quite involved, and you can always hire out. It just raises your costs. So, and you want to get pretty good at Canva. You'll be making your own memes for everybody and promotional things and book covers. There's a lot of moving parts, but really the most important thing you have to be absolutely good at is yeah, that. It's not that bad if it's done right. Well, why do it at all? And that's because a published author status really does make a difference. We heard someone this afternoon in a meeting that said once he was an author published in a book, um, people were coming to him out of the woodwork. So, as you know, it establishes authority, credibility, and expertise. Um, and when it comes to bigger books, like a regular size, like a normal book, whatever that means, um, supposedly 80% of all people say they want to do it. Only 6% of them ever will at least try. And out of that 6%, only 3% will actually ever do it, which is pretty sad because, that's how we get our knowledge is, books, whether they're antiques or brand new. There's always something new to learn from somebody who's already walked the path we're wanting to learn from. Um, And one of the things that dissuades people is that they consider a real book to be 50,000 words, and it has to have, 200 pages to be real. It has to have, 10 chapters. It's really bad advice, and it's very discouraging. I can see why people don't get to writing. And again, it makes a case for anthologies. Um, the probably the saddest case of all was the client who came to me and he followed his mentor's advice to write 50,000 words and 10 chapters, and the book was on procrastination. That's really not a good idea. I mean, come on. And then I had a client come to me and she said her number was 21, so she wanted to do 21 tips, and it was rather overwritten. The manuscript was overwritten. And so I asked her how she liked number 11, and we reduced it to number 11, and it went really well. Shorter is better. That's what readers want. Oh, I do happen to have an event coming up. Speaking of shorter is better, um, mini memoirs are where it's at. The presentation is next week and Wednesday, the 26th. Uh, it is shocking what you'll find out and what people are doing with very small books. And why, this is why a 7-year-old can write a memoir. Yeah. So I just wanted to share that event with you. So creating a collaboration is, if it's done right, you won't have too much trouble corralling the kitties. You might, but it depends. Depends on the cat. So what could possibly go wrong? Oh, hang on. Lots of things aside from trying to trap vapor under a glass. And I wanted to go over a couple of these things so that we're going to get out of the way first. And this really does happen a lot. It's somebody, in the first picture, somebody took on too much. It could be the person running the collaboration. It could be that they have a team and their team can't get it together. Um, I know someone whose book was supposed to publish last year, an anthology about their experience during COVID, and it only just now came out. It is about a year overdue. And I've heard that a little too often. So, I like to take the zip line to the finish line. So that's why the workshop on Sundays ends in Thursday, you're a published author. So this is really about execution, and we're going to go over that in a little bit. The other thing that's a genuine problem, particularly in those books where everybody's kind of on their own doing their thing, and your whole world is held up by other people that you probably will never meet because there's never been a meeting. It's one of those drive-by drop-offs. And the solution to that really is, and I have to get better at this, which is if it's not done by, Monday night at, 5 o'clock, I'll give you till 8. Okay. Then it doesn't make the book because it holds up everybody and everything. And that can hold up someone's plans to have a book published based on the deadlines that were promised so that they could do a presentation or a big speech or a book signing. So that can really send everybody off sideways in a bad way. The other problem is, again, I'll go back to my friend and the book the book that didn't, it finally did, but boy, it was painful because of the number of edits and confusing comments that were in the margins and redlining this and changing that. And there's all kinds of editing. There's line editing, copy editing, and story development is actually called editing. And these are all a combination of things that make a really good book, a good read. And I treat chapters like a book. Each chapter is a book to me. And so they all deserve that same amount of attention and perfectionism. It can be, there's a number of things that could go wrong, as you can see in the process. At the very least, if you're going to do an anthology with someone, make sure that someone somewhere in there has done this before and is a professional with publishing. It takes time to be a professional in publishing. And I love that people want to start and try something new. And I'm available actually to be like their weekend story development workshop leader, because it's a lot to be able to assess where people are at and then be able to extract those stories and then help them tell them clearly with a message on paper. And most collaborations don't offer training. So you as a writer, if you signed up and paid good money, you will have no guarantee that it'll be a great read. Hopefully it will. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just saying you have no idea. And that's a little scary to me. Let's see what else could go wrong. But wait, there's more. So lately I've been seeing a bit of fanfare, or my offer is better because, and one of the things that people will do is wave carrots in front of potential clients. And all it takes is a little research to look into the value of that carrot. It might be GMO. crack myself up. It might be a plastic carrot. So for instance, just because someone has 50,000 subscribers, what you want to do is go look at the number of views that each of their videos gets, their shows or relevant shows. If it's 17 to 26, it doesn't matter that they have 50,000 subscribers, does it? It's not really a reason to line up with them. See, once you publish, everything's marketing and marketing's everything. So that one instance of that one show that you're on with them is not going to revolutionize your world. And so it's really important to look at the carrots that are being dangled, okay? Because they may or may not have actual value. They may not be the reason to go that way. I'm just saying, do some research. There's another kind of collaborator, and I can't wait to show you this one. Oh boy. So this is a twofold here. This what could possibly go wrong. There are some collaborators or like project managers, that's what I'll call them, project managers, who for whatever reason don't want you to market what you've done before. And I think that's a really big epic fail. It really does a disservice to, I wouldn't do it to my clients. I wouldn't do it. I want you to get additional advertising and promotion and marketing. I want you to mention every book you've done. If you did a book 18 years ago, let's bring some more attention to it by putting you in a chapter now and point back to it. That's what these are for. These are to drive business and attention. And I see my podcast numbers go up. Every time I publish a book with my podcast mentioned in it, the numbers go up. It works. And so I don't understand not being willing to have a, and I guess it's a lack of security. I don't know what their issue is. I'm not going to psychoanalyze those kind of people, but I do know that that's going on. And if that, you really should ask, is that going to be a problem? Because I've heard of podcast hosts doing the same thing. You're not going to get to mention that you're an author 3 times. I don't understand that. That's to me, that's not okay. But so be on the lookout for that, because it happens. And they may have dangled a nice carrot, and then you find on the back end that you have to, basically duct tape yourself over a major part of your life, like writing in 2 or 3 books, which has happened to a couple of my friends. This last one, so this was this was before I really became a professional in the industry. I was like everybody else, maybe someday, God, I hope so, maybe I could be in a book or do a book. And I never thought about an anthology. And a woman that I'd known for 5 years or more, we often spoke about someday we'll do great things together, and we'll do pop-up speeches across the country, and we'll change the world, whatever. And then, came the time that she came to me and said, please come and join us in this anthology called Wake Up Winning No Matter What, because losing is not an option. I'm reading it. Okay. Oh, the irony. Let me tell you something. Bonus 7 tips to staying motivated. Uh-huh. Okay, so we didn't get to see the book until, I ordered 90 copies and we saw it later. I won, a sales award, and I never got to walk the stage because they changed the time. There were some very devious people involved in this group. It was a nightmare, and I could have avoided all of it if I just listened to my gut. But my pain, my fear was bigger than my intuition. And so I overrode that still small voice that said, don't do it. I didn't think there would ever be another chance. And that's what happens, is we don't think there's ever going to be another opportunity. I had a friend offer to front the money, and then he had a motorcycle accident, and then he couldn't front the money, and it was up and down, and I had a chance to bow out, and I didn't. And it turned into an absolute nightmare. Now I want to show you something. All my personal experience aside, I want to caution you about these books that say, we'll put your name on the cover. My legal name is Alexis. My pen name is Lonnie Ray. And we'll put your picture on the back. It'll look just like your book, you know? Okay. So I went for it. We went to a big book signing to get our books. And my friend was honest enough to say, hey, it looks like Wanda's book, but with your name on it. And so she opened the book, and the introduction was, oh, I don't know how many pages about Wanda in the introduction, and uh, 4. And then about the creator of the book, that's about Wanda again. Okay. If I were to do a book like this, and even when I do anthologies, I put my chapter in the back because this is about you guys. And that's not where this woman was at. And I had no idea that she would be like that. But the worst part was that I asked a lot of people that I knew to give a testimonial, because our testimonials or rave reviews were supposed to be right next to our photos, like the page next to our photos. Well, I kid you not, they put the acknowledgments, I'm going to show you, in the back. Let's see. In a run-on sentence. I mean, literally broke up websites, literally run-on sentence. And I had a beautiful comment from Mark Victor Hansen, which really meant a lot to me. Heartfelt wisdom, you'll remember. There is all of these people were told that they were going to get front center in next to the chapter because of business exposure. All their website information, I wanted them to get promoted too. And these people dumped all of these acknowledgments in the back. The only person that got to see this book, and it was 90 copies I bought without seeing it, was the trash man. It was a nightmare. And I overrode my gut instinct. And I never forgot that experience. Obviously, I've gotten over the trauma, mostly. I have. But when when it was time for me to do an anthology, I learned real quick what not to do. Things can go wrong. And it's please trust your gut. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the positive stuff. Because this wake up winning no matter what. Yeah. Uh-huh. I don't know who was winning. By the way, they charged us $5 a copy. I'm not sure how much it costs to do a custom name cover, photo and name on it, but Amazon author copy costs are about half that, depending on the number of pages. And that's not a profit center for me, you know. Anyway, people will do what they do. Anyway, collaborations are great. You just exponential energy, numbers. You just get better results. You get into a broader network. You also get people looking at you differently, and I don't mean like what is wrong with you. They will see you differently, and that will change and grow your vision of possibility for yourself. So rather than trying to go solo the first time and market by yourself, which even I hate to do, it is so much easier with a group of people. And then ultimately, and does give you confidence, of course, because you get published, and it's so cool to open a book and see your chapter in there. And you know, your article matters. It matters. It's a cool experience. I hope you'll have. And then hopefully you are provided with skills you need to move on your own. I haven't seen a lot of anthology organizers do that, but that would be ideal, that you learn something rather than just kind of sit at home by yourself and hope that it works out. I have done a number of books. So my experience is with bigger books, if you will. Kicking Karma's Ass is 164 pages. It is a page turner because of the way it was broken up into chapters, and it's a fascinating story. Let's see, almost all of these are Connie's book. A Divinely Guided is 134, I think. Try to keep them short if you're going to do a whole book. So I have a lot of experience helping people to do that. It's a lot. It's a big deal to organize all your thoughts for a big book. That's why chapter books are a great way to start. This one, 5 Things You Didn't Learn in School, he is still in the top 100. I'm so proud of Matthias. He has been marketing and speaking ever since he wrote this book. And I'm so proud of him. It's easily 2 years later. Yeah, it's awesome. These 2 books on the right are books that I wrote. How to Deal with a Dumbass, What to Do and Say When They Come Your Way, was inspired by events of the last 5 years, which is also what inspired Rattled Awake. We'll get into that in a second. And then Life Lessons Learned from a Lousy Mother is I didn't plan to pull it out, is a 27-minute and 41-second read. I timed it. And it has a lot of impact. You know, there's a way to convey what you need to say without it being, too traumatic to read, or to get through to the end. And that's why I'm proud of that book. Um, Rattled Awake is an anthology series. This is experience talking. Now on volume 10, so excited. We come out on July 4th. How perfect. The chapter book system that I've created with a weekend workshop makes sure that none of those things that you saw earlier go wrong. There's nobody who's going to hold up the program. The editing is going to be done by an expert. All the boxes are ticked. And you can build a career on it, just like Kat Polsinelli did. She took a single chapter out of the Podcasters edition and tucked some books under her arm and went to the women's shelter where she was a resident 10 years ago and gave a talk, sold some books, inspired them to say, see, it won't always be this way. And she's building a speaking career as she planned, off of one chapter. So they actually are very effective if that's how you want to use it. And just by the way, volume 11, I made this cover this morning. I love it. It's coming up at the end of July, and I'm very excited to announce that's in the works already. So if you're thinking about doing a chapter book, an anthology collaboration, come on my way. It'll be fun. We have a good time. So let's get into how you put these together, and is this for you? If you're thinking of creating one, if organizing some friends, a lot of people say, oh yeah, get yourself and 6 friends and you can do it. Okay, you can. And let's see what it involves. If you're thinking about writing in one, these are some things to look out for. You want to have clarity of the theme and the format and the execution. And why? You definitely want to know why you're doing this. There's many themes, unusual hobbies like spaghetti basket weaving. That is a thing. There's an actual video of spaghetti basket weaving on The Great Discovery. Who has time for that? I've just got to get the video just to see it. Maybe she'll want to be in an anthology. If you think about it, recipe books are also an anthology, a collection of stories. Weird inventions, dreams, healing. I don't need to read it to you. You guys can see this. Themes run the gamut. I did see one called the Gain of Pain, and she's into volume 3. And I was like, I didn't really find that to be a sexy title. It explains what she's doing, and it's probably very relatable. But you want to look at a couple things, not just the theme, but do you get excited about what it's called? Do you get excited about where it's headed? It matters because there's going to be times you're going to feel taxed, tired. You're like, I can't, I can't. If you're excited about it, though, you'll remember why you started. And that why is what will motivate you to keep going. Tongue in cheek wrote this for the potential project managers. What are you thinking? But truly, it does matter. Like, what are you thinking? What kind of book do you want to do? These arrows are in order of they are descending popularity. They're the least desirables on the bottom. Creative nonfiction, that's what we do. That's chicken soup for the soul style stories. Interviews, some business types will do an interview of some of their people, and then it won't come out as god awful. By the way, speaking of god awful, that's what this book is. Straight up Q&A. Q&A is such a snooze. Everybody answered the same questions. What a snooze. Ah, there's no creativity in that. And it really does depend on the writers. So there could be some, but really not so much. As far as carrying it off, the execution, a workshop is ideal so that you can learn something and you can meet the other authors and build on that energy, especially when it's time to promote the book. There's some that offer 2 content edits. I have only seen people struggle. It's kind of like when you misunderstand a text message, and it's the same thing when you get back the work that you've done and it's full of red lines. Yeah, they mean well, but you might not take it well. It can be very demoralizing, and there's no conversation. It's just somebody's opinion about what you wrote. And it's not always the most positive experience. I try to make sure people have a positive experience in even learning. There's a lot of first-time writers. We're all first time at one time. And then there's the ones that they don't even have a meeting. It's just drop it off. That works for some. I I think I just like being invested in the process more than just being in a book that a bunch of people dropped off a chapter and went the other way. I don't really, anyway, it's up to you what you want to do. So what we want to look for is clarity, why you want to do it, what it's going to look like, what format it's in. These are things for you to notice and to ask. And how are they actually pulling this off? Clarity, concept, and collaboration. That's about the people. And if you're thinking of creating or being a project manager, definitely look at these characteristics, the 4 C's, because if writers aren't committed, communicative, cooperative, and considerate, it creates gaps in the flow and it can leave everybody hanging. So I think, I know from experience that not everybody will admit that that they're not these things, but they aren't. And so it's really kind of sussing it out and saying, are you committed? Can you be considerate enough to send an email that says, I can't do it? Those things, they seem common to most of us, but there's a lot of people who don't. And if you're invested in this like I am as a business, communication really matters. So these are the personality traits to look for in people. I'd say that's true in life. And the next part that you have, once you've gotten all those pieces together, is marketing. Marketing is everything, and everything is marketing. And I really want to caution you because I've learned the hard way, obviously. Find out if there's other expenses. Find out if you can use your chapter in other ways and places. Find out what they plan to do for promoting the book, supplying you with books. They won't know the author costs typically. until the book has a page count on Amazon. You won't know. Amazon sets the price on that, but really find out in advance. Ways that you can be proactive is to voice your chapter. I've voiced most of mine. They're on YouTube so that they're accessible. But you know what? You may have inadvertently signed something or signed up with someone who says you can't do that. And I don't think that's okay. I don't legally think that's okay, but if you sign something, maybe then it is. I don't touch that stuff. I'm all for you guys. Like, run, do whatever you can. What are you up to? Let me see if I can do that too. If you have some ideas, let's promote, said the promo ho. Your chapter is a great giveaway on a lot of times on podcasts, they'll be asking you in so many words, what are your final words? And if you have final words and a giveaway, that's even better. And you can build an email list from that. Especially if you say, like, I voiced my chapter, and you can just pop on over here and it's a landing page, grabs their email, and then they can get your chapter. It makes a difference. These are business generators. This isn't just fluff on paper, not if it's done right. And then ask if you can tell your story in other books. I'm shocked to hear some people want to limit that. So we're almost to the end. This is really the layout of all the things that a project manager does. You might, so here's your hard question. Do you want to be a project manager, or do you just want to show up and be an author? What do you think? Survey says, I just want to write. So in that regard, you just have to come up with a creative idea and be collaborative. The rest of it, all those other pieces, that's a very generic overview of all the working pieces that it takes to get a book done. So now you know. At least you know what you're getting into, and you also know what. So that wake up winning, that whole thing cost me $2,500 for the pleasure of being ostracized and bullied and have a terrible book, and yeah, a lot of things. Um, there was some training in it. You want to know, I think, as an author, as a writer, have a general idea of all the things that your money is buying for you. Like with Rattled Awake, it's pretty much a done for you program, except for you writing a chapter and then promoting the book on Thursday afterwards. All these other things are done for you. There's a lot of value in that, unless you want to learn all this stuff. Go, man, go. It'll take a while, but you can learn it. So is it worth it? Yeah. And the real question is, can you live with yourself for not trying, for not being in a book, for not finally getting that idea down on paper? You don't want to die with the music still in you. That's Dr. Wayne Dyer. You may not know or realize that you have something of value to say in a chapter, but you do. And if you're ever like, I can't figure it out, I don't know where to start, get in touch with me. I'll show you that there's value in a story. I mean, you could talk about an adventure, a trip, there's a lot of things that depending on the message you want to share with the world, there are ways to spin it so that you can really make that bucket list item check, or that restlessness in your heart go away. And that's what you want. And leave a legacy message. Leave something for your grandkids or people you'll maybe never know who you affect. I heard someone say that my dumbass book helped him escape a dangerous cult in Norway. What? Yeah. So there you go. That's about the workshop and the memoir, and we're done. So here we go. I really want to thank you for being here. And if you have any questions, um, I'm all ears. I really am. Look, I got big ears. I'm all ears. Get it?